dead.
Recently I did an interesting thing a few folks noticed, and I just can't keep anything to myself, so here it is. But since not all of you are editors or care about how to do this stuff, I am going to get some stuff off my chest while I show you basically a tutorial here. So as I do a how-to to bring your favorite players back to life, let me tell you this story. Okay, this is me. You're probably wondering why the star of his high school basketball team isn't even dressed for the team picture. Well, see, much like Michael Jordan himself, I was also cut from the varsity team in my sophomore year. And also, similar to Jordan, I was never actually on the varsity team. So when me and Jordan use the term cut, what we mean is that we made the JV team. Anyway, facts aside. See, on this team I even had my own Leroy Smith. But anyway, the reason I was dressed was because I didn't even know I was on the team until that morning. And even worse, this is the proper representation of how I felt, because I hated almost every moment that I was on that team, mainly because of this one man. Coach Murky Murk. We're gonna call him Murky Murk because honestly I can't even remember his name. Okay. Now remember, I was an average ball player with an insane vertical leap, and I also would talk my fair share of trash. And in 10th grade, as most of these players imagine their basketball ceiling to be endless, me, on the other hand, I had woken up from my hoop dreams. College ball wasn't even gonna happen, mainly because I knew I wasn't gonna grow anymore. See the short player problems video. And I just wanted to have fun. So when I made this team, I was looking to have some level of enjoyment on this team. But Coach Murky Murk, he drained all the joy out of basketball and filled us back up with resentment and fear. Now listen, some people respond to that, and some of us look that dead in the eye and say, this is stupid. But I wouldn't say that out loud. So the way I said it was dumb or stupid was by giving as little effort as humanly possible when I could. But the problem was I loved playing in the real games, so sometimes my less than optimal practice effort led to less minutes, including one day when I decided not to go to practice, all culminating to the following day where I got the smallest of hamstring pulls and decided to sit out the rest of practice. I know, insult my effort here. That's understandable. I was not being a team player. God, this coach was a tyrant, I'm telling you. And sitting out of practice was the closest thing I could do to saying F you and your tactics. Again, some people like being personally insulted, especially if you have long-term goals. Sometimes you'll just deal with that. I don't. Especially not at 15. You kidding me? Let me give you an example. We were a good team. We won our division almost every year. But in that year, after one close loss where we gave up a lead, we were brought in for an unscheduled Saturday practice where he punished us with the cliche running. But then he brought us back inside and lined us up, and he went down the line, singling every individual player out to insult each one of us. And the insults weren't about basketball. It was like a roast without the love. He brought up a whole host of stuff. It was a complete character assassination in front of the whole team. I don't even remember what he said about me. Probably sure it had something to do with my effort and how it's gonna lead to me being a failure in life. And that was the day I really gave up on this team. But again, I loved playing in the games. Maybe it was the crowd, maybe it was the spotlight, I don't know. Then, the night came. My night of revenge. When I showed up to this Wednesday night game, I was prepared to sit a lot due to my behavior in practice. You know, the whole hamstring incident. Mind you, when I pulled the hamstring, there was no sympathy for me. As the coach approached me, he said, the reason you pulled your hamstring is because you don't run in practice. It's because you're out of shape. This was true. But this day, this night, to the coach's dismay and to my enjoyment, the team was thin. One player was out due to illness, another due to some sort of broader school suspension, and one more was on a pre-arranged trip out of town. And this led me, a usual sixth man, energy guy, to enter the starting unit. This wasn't the first time though. The coach would adjust the lineup occasionally, and my rotation was wildly different based on, I don't know, how much effort I was willing to put into the previous practice. See, the odd part of my game was that I was about 5'8", not maxed out completely, but I would play most of my minutes at the 4 position. Why? I always felt like I was a big man. But side note, let's get one thing clear here. This was a large high school in California. was roughly 3,000 students. And we fielded a team that had typical high school basketball height ranges. Multiple 6-foot+ players and a few 6'3", 6'4s. But the reason I was down there in the 4 spot on the block was because my purest joy in the game was most possible down by the block. After a shot would clank off the back rim, I found my happiness in emerging above a group of outstretched hands and snatching down one-handed rebounds and landing on the floor like a goddamn Hulk. So in this game, with no other option but to play me, I took this opportunity to dominate. Maybe it was the freedom of knowing I was necessary, or the satisfaction of getting to play heavy minutes just 2 days after my big theoretical FU during practice. But whatever it was, I was unstoppable, inhaling rebounds, generating multiple second chance shots, and even a fair share of my under the rim putbacks, getting my points up. But the pinnacle of the game, my shining moment of the game, was at the free throw line. As the other team lined up to shoot a 1-and-1, I was back at the bottom of the block, tasked with blocking out some big doughy country kid. And as I was standing there, I'd kind of picked up earlier in the game that the ref was a playful ref, willing to interact beyond just the whistle and some pointing. And right before the shot went up, I looked at the ref and said, "Watch this." Or I think I said, "I got this." I don't know, I think I said, "Watch this," whichever one's more dramatic to you. That's what I said. And just one tick of time later, the ball, up in the air, clanks off the back of the rim and shoots straight up with the trajectory falling towards the middle of the lane, essentially creating a jump ball, but for everyone. Any player in the lane had a puncher's chance at grabbing it, but it was my ball, emerging above a group of outstretched arms to pull it down with one arm, crashing to the ground like a goddamn Hulk. And with a selfish delay in the offense, I glanced back to the ref, and he said, "Okay, Hops." By the end of that evening, I had collected somewhere between 25 to 30 rebounds and 20 points. And this was my shining moment in my high school basketball career. And yes, this story is 100% true. Abso-freaking-lutely. So what does it all mean? Well, if you're a coach, don't insult a group of 15-year-olds and expect them to give you their 100% effort, you dummy. Alright. Hope you enjoyed the story. Hope you enjoyed the tutorial. This tutorial is obviously just the way I did it. There's probably a million ways to do it in Photoshop or whatnot, but with this simple website, it's pretty easy to bring pictures back to life. Even you can do it with your own baby pictures. Anyway, alright. Thank you very much. Subscribe. New episode Sunday at 9 p.m. Eastern. New episode Sunday, 9 p.m. Eastern. Get on the train.
Flip flap.